Hi guys, welcome to a new video. First off, if you're looking for any deposit bonus, whatever, check out the partners below. Alright, let's get straight into it. So last week in the video and just throughout the past few weeks, I've been a bit cautiously bearish, I'd say, especially on Bitcoin, as of course the Grayscale or GBTC outflows have been kind of consistently going at like 10k BTC a day during all the trading days, which is like 4 or 500 million. Now, I will say that most of this has been getting absorbed by all the other ETFs. So that means that every thing that went out of GBTC has mostly been bought back into the other ETFs and even more. But still, regardless, we've been seeing some sell the news action and just generally people taking some profit, all that kind of stuff. So I think the main thing to watch for is whether this sentiment will improve a bit, and if the GBTC selling slows down a bit while the other ETF flows keep coming in, which at some point will obviously cause for like at least a short-term supply, like the supply to go down a bit while obviously the demand keeps going, and I think that should put in a short-term bottom. Whether it's here or now, not sure. This was a scenario I just like a doodle I drew just now, as I think something like this could be very well happening. Like I think just this sell-off now of like 18% or so in such a short time is pretty sizable, of course. I do think eventually, if this is like the start of a big correction, we can go lower, and then it might look something like this, tap maybe 36 or whatever, and go from there. But right now, it's so difficult to say. So just play it level by level. I think take it a bit slow, because if you get some kind of scenario like this, for example, where we bottom out somewhere right below 40k and then start the next leg up, but it takes like another 2 months or so. If you start actively trading this, you're just gonna get chopped up, and it's gonna be similar to this kind of period, like these kind of moves where basically price goes nowhere for like 2-3 months or whatever, but in between you get all these big bounces and then full retraces, and every time it's gonna look like you gotta really get exposed now, because the next leg up is starting, but in the end it's just moving sideways. And I think whatever or wherever this bottoms, I don't think we're gonna go straight to all-time highs again, or like even yearly highs, and something like this would be the best case scenario, I think. As I just feel like we just need some more cooling off, which is something I've been saying for the couple or for the past few weeks. And I think then in like maybe March or April, something like that, with the halving in May, sentiment might turn back into the positive a bit, and people will start willing to allocate for wherever this thing is trading. And then hopefully from there we just slowly grind back up again and then start the next major leg up. So for now, I'm not too eager on like trading this at all, and I'm slowly just waiting and seeing just where this wants to bottom out and how everything surrounding the ETF will move on. Like I'm not ruling out like another move to like 43 or 44k to test some of these levels, but then I don't think we're gonna just go straight to yearly highs and then maybe all-time highs. But one thing to note, obviously the Nasdaq and the S&P, also the S&P recently just broke all-time highs. So considering stocks are there already, we got a long way to go to our all-time high. And with this ETF, all this kind of stuff, it's definitely not bearish in the long term. So even like I took some profits on my spot, as I also mentioned on Twitter, throughout this region, which I'm happy about, especially the alts, which are down like 30% or so. Obviously, I didn't sell like the Pico top on all that, but it's still down quite a bit. So yeah, like longer term, I think we're all in it. That we're seeing that this wants to go higher. Shorter term, you might get these sell-offs, which are part of the run. But one thing, like if you have sold and you have dry powder, keep it a bit. Like make sure you have a plan ready for it, but also don't be too greedy, because in these bull runs, eventually it just goes and then it takes off without you. So I think it's always smart to have some exposure, and then you have some dry powder on the side as well, so you're ready for either scenario. Having said that, I think we're just gonna move on because we have quite a few chart requests from you guys, which are all set here on the top. So quickly through ETH, like let's say we go to like 38 or whatever K on BTC, this would be like a really nice scenario, I think, to shake out everything and have a nice reset. Just deviate back below this range high, tap the daily 200 MA and EMA, and then go from there. Whether we go that low, not sure. We'll have to wait and see, but this is something I'm keeping an eye on, just in case it happens. And this is gonna look super scary when it trades here. But then your confirmation could be like this retake, of course, of like 2150 or something. Like you don't have to knife catch. You can, but like even waiting for confirmation for something like this would already be perfectly fine. To easily journal and track your trades, consider trying out Coin Market Manager. It's as simple as connecting your exchange API to the website to get your analytics ready. Sign up using the link below, get a 14-day trial, and I hope you really enjoy it. I know I've been using it for a while and I can't go without at this point. ETH, it's now hovering on top of this diagonal trend line, and the daily 200 MA and EMA are about to be tested here. If it does something like this, that would be really, really nice for EBTC. I do eventually think this will head to this mid-range and eventually also the range high later in this cycle. But for now, let's see if it can hold here. And obviously, still happy to see how we were waiting for this deviation below here, the June 2022 lows, which caused this huge reaction here. Went way quicker even than I anticipated, but so far following the plan pretty nicely. And obviously that also caused Bitcoin dominance to go down, which is now, I mean, not sure if you can actually have these moving averages on here, but for the fun of it, it's now testing this daily 200 MA and EMA, and I don't think you can always chart this stuff a lot, but it can give you a rough idea of how alts are doing against BTC. But keep in mind, this is obviously mostly dependent on what ETH does, as ETH is a big factor of the altcoin market cap, which moves Bitcoin dominance. But yeah, from here on out, let's see if it can get down to like this 48-49% area. And if we really get down back there again, then we're back in this massive range, which we've traded in since like 2021 to 2023. And from there on out, we could just really keep going lower and lower as alts keep taking market share from Bitcoin. Whether that's going to happen, not sure. We'll just play it level by level. But I do think these levels are respected quite well. And I think a lot of people do still look at these as when to allocate into alts and whatnot. So if this is the start of a bigger trend change in this regard after like a 2-year move up, or like, sorry, this was like a 1.5 year move up, but from here on out, it was like 2-3 years. Yeah, I mean, if this is really the start of a bigger trend change, then it's likely to go quite a bit lower, at least to like this area, I think. And you could already see what alts did relative to BTC in such a small move. So if it really goes here, then you can imagine it's quite a move as well on alts, especially relative to BTC. Then a few new launches and also coins that were suggested. So we have Ondo, which is part of also the RWA narrative. It has a lot of strong backers. I did invest in this myself in the sale. So it recently also got launched on Binance Futures straight away, and I assume it's gonna be launched on Coinbase anytime soon because it already got listed on like their roadmap. Not on Binance Spot yet, as so far I think. But I think if it will, and with the Coinbase spot listing as well, should help this overall. Just main thing I wanted to lay out here is the fact that this launched, and from there on out it just took off, which is not something you see often. So you had like good couple of hours here at like 8 cents or so, and then like within, what is this? 10 hours, it almost tripled in price. Well, this is a relatively large market cap. I think the market cap is around like 300 million, with fully diluted around like 2.5 billion or 3 billion as well. So that's not small. So to see this just take off from the launch is quite interesting. It launched on the same day as Manta, which was of course very hyped as well, which as you can see did a lot worse. Also quite a high market cap. It is had some FUD around its airdrop, all that kind of stuff. But the main eyes were on this initially, but Ondo ended up taking the show in the end. And I'm just really excited for this project. It seems to be like they've already been building all this stuff since like 2021. Team seems very solid, and what I just really prefer here is the fact that they were not hype driven at all. It kind of launched without many people knowing, and then I mean it proved itself right from the start in terms of valuation, of course. But they also got like quite a lot of total value locked on their platform. I think it's like 150 billion or something. And most of the bigger token unlocks are until much later, like a year from now or so. So yeah, keep an eye on this. Keep an eye on Manta as well, because newer coin tends to move more easily. Like if you're trading, these things are great for volatility. Might be interested here to me if it sweeps this range low at like $2. Overall, seems like this is just gonna keep ranging here for a while, and maybe you can catch a few of these moves in between, but yeah, let's see how it performs. Dogecoin has taken a bit of a spotlight recently because the X payments account got activated. So it seems like the payments with Twitter, all that kind of stuff are really taking some shape. Whether they are going to implement anything, including Dogecoin, of course, no one knows. Everyone is always assuming. I think there's a chance, but I don't know. Even if it happens, it could take months or years. It's really difficult. And obviously, there's a lot of Dogecoin holders that are waiting for that exact thing. I also think if Twitter or X would implement something like this, it would, of course, be very bullish for Dogecoin. But I also think you're going to get like a similar reaction as with like the XRP, the judge ruling, which we're going to get into shortly, where you have all this money waiting and anticipating for this one event to happen. Then it happens. You're likely going to see like a 50 or 100% move. And then that's it, you know. That's was the narrative that people had been holding it for like years. And then it's over, and people are going to be left there sitting like, okay, what's there left? Sure, you're going to get all these narratives, how it's going to use a lot now and all that kind of stuff. But in the end, usually this is a buy the rumor, sell the news kind of thing. And for now, I don't think there's even like a valid rumor. But yeah, I mean, there's some progress being made with X payments. So that's why it had a bit of a move. Overall, the higher time frame chart does look okay to me. Like it's basically been accumulating in this region for a good part of like the past 2-3 years. If at some point this were to move, I think the move could be quite violent, like similar to this kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, so far holding daily 200 MA EMA pretty nicely here, but would want to see it start moving up again. And then like above 10 cents or so, it can really start accelerating, because obviously in this region you still have a lot of supply sitting here, because you can see around like 9 cents or so it's been being sold off quite a lot. Moving on, Sui was something that was suggested. I mean, this had like the weirdest move up, I think, throughout this region. Like there's so many 20-30% drawdowns in between here. So if you bought spot and you held through here, that's nice. And at some point, it's something I always say, like if you get this kind of price action, both to the upside and the downside, at some point, like people are waiting for this to happen. But you're more likely than not to just get one more candle up in the same direction and then a big one. That seemed to have happened. Then it continued for a while, but near the listing top, we rejected a bit, and now it's retesting some of these levels. Overall, not sure if this has the power to like really keep going. I think this just generally follows the rest of the alt market for now, and until there's like a big narrative or anything, I'm not sure if this is gonna outperform. But yeah, I mean, of course, it's probably gonna try to make a higher low somewhere around this region, and for that, I would always just simply use the FIB extensions or retracements, and then yes, this would be the main level, also with the $1 round level, and here being the, I mean, this was the previous range low here in this initial region. So could be a decent bounce area, but I'm not touching anything here myself. And then say kind of same thing. Main thing I wanted to mention here is something interesting on the chart, which you tend to see during these strong bull rallies. So what you see here, I drew like these red horizontals on, let me remove these real quick. So these red horizontals on all the like the local tops, I'd say. So what you can see here, like this one retested it perfectly. Like this was a nice retest where you could have bought this retest and then catch the move. But what you tend to see a lot here is, sure, we had a quick wick here, but retesting this level here, it got front run. Same thing here, front run. So that's what you tend to see, especially in the first part of the move. And here, in a way, depending on how you draw it, you also had the same. So that happens a lot earlier in a rally or when a move is really starting, which is something to keep an eye on, because it does show strength in a way, because basically where all the bits are located likely are getting front run, and these people will have to FOMO in later, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, this is why I do like in a strong bullish environment to put my bits a bit higher if you're looking for such a retest, because you can see it just, otherwise you don't get filled. And of course you want to get filled if you anticipate the next higher leg up. So that's something to keep in mind, and something to keep an eye on, because it happens a lot, and you've probably all experienced it one day. So keep an eye on it. Link, one of the stronger coins still. Like it held up, and it even went up a bit last week when everything went down. Like I do hold some long term on this. I would be very happy if I was able to get somewhere in around here again, like, or not in, but add to my bag. Not sure if you get like the full range retest here. I think that might be a bit far-fetched at this point, but maybe here up into like the $11 region would be very nice, I think, and the higher time frame structure would still look great if it does something like this, for example. So that's something I'm looking for, and hopefully I get it. But I mean, if this just breaks above here, like above 18, then I think we're gonna fill up this region here rather quickly. It will depend entirely on the rest of the market, of course. And then XRP, it got suggested, but I also wanted to bring a spotlight again on these news events, for example. So this was when XRP won its case against the SEC, and the ruling was here. So we had this huge candle up, like 100%, somewhere around here. I mentioned the fact that one, it was trading higher already than it was before before they got sued at all. So even taking account how much the entire market has grown. So at this point, it was relatively much higher valued than before all the shit even went down. So that was one thing. And then within this same tweet, I wrote something about like, okay, it can go higher than people think, but taking profit doesn't hurt. Also, there was a Coinbase relisting around the same time. Like it all happens in a matter of like hours or something. So at that point, I also mentioned, okay, this is basically everything people had been waiting for years. Like everyone that allocated in here had been waiting for exactly that thing. Then we also had it coupled with like a lot of shorts. All these things got squeezed out. Obviously, a lot of momentum and hype. But during that, like, sure, these things can extend higher and higher, especially in a bullish market, which it really wasn't that bullish back in the summer of 2023. But yeah, I mean, these things often are just local tops because, yeah, I mean, there's going to be people selling into it because this is what people allocated for. And we saw the same with Dogecoin before, and I think we're gonna see the same thing if it were to be implemented at some point. And of course, we saw the same thing in a way with the ETF. A lot of people bought the rumor, sell the news. They bought in this anticipation of the ETF. ETF gets launched, a lot of supply indirectly also gets unlocked. So then you get the sell the news. And this is something, it always happens in every market, in everywhere. Like it's always good to be aware, because when things actually happen, it always looks so great. And it's easy to get caught up in the hype and all that kind of stuff, thinking it will go up forever. But I mean, at some point it will correct, and obviously longer term things go up again. But good to be aware of these situations. All right. Looks like we might be getting this sweep, but live in the video. But we'll see. Last coin is Horizon or Zen. This is also a privacy coin. I think a lot of these got unlisted on some exchanges recently. So overall, I mean, this is kind of the range you're watching, but I don't really like these things. I mean, they barely go up when the market goes up. Sure, maybe at some point you get some kind of scam pump, but I would really want to look for confirmation above this area. And until then, I'm not interested in these things. I mean, there's a lot of new and shiny coins people like that tend to go up much easier. And I mean, no, not really a point in allocating in all these dead coins, I think. Unless you, of course, got a lot of conviction or a nice thesis on it. But I mean, just simply looking at the chart, I wouldn't really like to touch those. All right. For now, best recommendation I can give is don't overtrade. Just take a chill. I mean, the market isn't going anywhere. We just had like a multiple month rally up. We're only like not even 2 weeks in since this stop. In between these bull cycles, we tend to get a lot of like 30% corrections in between. Like 30% in this case would put us at like in the middle of 30K. It's reasonable. Could also just be this or like 20% corrections. Who knows? Just play level by level. Like it's clear the momentum is down right now. If the momentum changes or the market structure changes, like let's say you do get something like this, the sweep and then the retake, then sure, here you might be like, okay, might start looking for longs again for a bounce or whatever. But just always have a plan in mind, and don't always also use all your dry powder if you have any left like already, because it's always nice to have some on the side, even if prices go higher first. Just it really helps also with having more ease of mind, I say. So with that, I'd like to thank you all very much. As always, if there's any suggestions, tips, whatnot, feel free to mention. And I wish you all a great week ahead. Take care. Bye-bye.